all of the attention that you have brought to the field of forestry in the legislature over the recent years. We appreciate being given the opportunity to do our job, and some of the things that you've shepherded through the legislature have given us the opportunity to do so. Assemblyman Brian Dowley and Assemblyman Roger Dickinson. So I believe that Assemblyman Pooley is going to act as speaker for the group.
Yes, I am. Here we go. Why don't we all stand up here, and then everyone can speak, and then we'll come out here and make the actual presentation. The subject matter of forestry is one that I feel a connection to in part just growing up in the out of doors, a scouting family, that sort of thing. But many of you will know Frank and Kathy Barron, who are Cal grads, who studied forestry there. I met the Barrons a long time ago. I met Frank, I think, first time in probably the fall of 1972 when he came to Cal, and I met this young guy with this beard, and he had just come from like a 200-mile single hike up the Pacific Crest Trail. And that was my first occasion meeting Frank Barron. And of course, he went to Blodgett many times as a student. It wasn't until last year that I had the occasion to get to Blodgett, which I've been hearing about from Frank and Kathy for a long time. So what we have today, we are presenting to UC Berkeley a resolution in commemoration of the centennial of the forestry program, in recognition of the vital work, the academic work, the research, the stewardship of this great natural resource that we have in California, and the role of UC Berkeley in fostering that and continuing that. So it's just an honor to be here on the occasion of this forestry board meeting, and especially with our colleague Wes Chesbrough, who has been a very important part of the forestry conversation for a long time in California. And we see the poor judgment of term limits, that people of quality and such experience are asked to move on, despite the continuing challenges we face. So it's just an honor to be here today, and I would invite Wes forward, and here you go.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you very much. And it has been a real privilege to serve in the legislature and represent an area that has such a long, rich history of natural resources and natural resource use, and of course controversy and conflict. One of the great good fortunes for me has been to be here during, at the end of my time in the legislature, but a time when the conversation has really changed and there's a constructive dialogue going on. And we're here to talk about UC and the long, rich history of the forestry program at the University of California, Berkeley. And I just want to say that there are many factors that have contributed to this, I believe, very constructive era we're moving into. But one of them is the long history and baseline of science and research that has continued to try, even in the worst times of the timber wars, to maintain a middle where there's a real conversation about the facts and not just the emotions and the financial interests. And so we are here to honor that long tradition and hope that it will be even more effective and useful going forward now that we're in, I believe, moving into a new era where we're no longer in that sort of polarized discussion the way we have been for, I don't know, 30 to 40 years. So kudos to everybody in the program, both currently and in the past, and everything they've done to protect the environment, but also to make sure that we have a sustainable industry in California.
Okay. Well, again, I just want to kind of use a springboard off of what Wes was talking about. Cannot tell you how great it is to have the professors and doing the science work that we need. He's held many at the natural resources hearings, and the information that we're getting from the university, lots of universities, but mainly from Berkeley, the testimony has been great to talk about the science and bring the emotion out of what's happening in the forest and bring it to the level of where we can actually move forward. And it's been great to be the lone Republican working with the Democrats here and bringing good legislation that you all can work on and hopefully get to the ground where we actually can do some good environmental work on a forest that really is in dire straits of threat of fire. So really awesome. I'm gonna miss this guy. Hopefully I can somewhat maybe carry on a little bit of some of his legacy and work on these issues because I represent a big part of the state where we have a lot of forestry issues. So keep up the good work with the guys at Cal, and we'll be looking forward to getting a lot of information from it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity this morning to join you for a few moments for this. I stand here as a very proud bear and an even more proud son of a member of the University of California School of Forestry faculty for 25 years. I think as many of you know, and I'm very pleased that there's an endowed chair in my father's name at Cal to carry on work in this dynamic and evolving field of forest management. Of course, my youth is dotted by memories of spending vacations in forests near Fort Bragg, up in Plumas County playing volleyball out in the forest, down in Kings County. Wherever there was a forest, I think we showed up when I was a kid. And those are great memories to the extent that in 6th grade I can remember writing in a little booklet when we were asked what we wanted to be when we grew up. I wrote I wanted to be a forester. Didn't quite turn out that way. Turned out a little different path for me, but the essence of thinking about my heritage is to think about my father, who was the director of the Forest Products Lab at the Richmond Field Station for the first 25 years of its existence, and all of the things that were created under his direction, the research and the development that was done in some respects in the golden era, I think, of wood technology. We'll continue to see developments in that area, but perhaps rarely, if ever again, a time that was so revolutionary. And I have to say, sawmills were also on the itinerary on a regular basis as well. I want to tell one short story, a very quick story about my father, because I think it captures the essence of what Cal meant to him and my mother and to our entire family. There came a time when the University of Michigan was looking for a new dean for its School of Forestry. And my father, having spent some time at the University of Michigan early in his career, decided to apply. But between the time of applying and the time of going back to Ann Arbor for an interview, he and my mother decided they just really couldn't leave Cal. They loved it too much, they loved the Bay Area too much, and so my father devised a strategy to make sure he would not be selected as the dean, and that was to go in and tell the search committee everything that was wrong with the program at Michigan, which he subsequently executed on perfectly by his accounting, which of course led him to being seen as the candidate who was just the person they needed and they offered him the job, which he declined in order to stay at Cal. The rich heritage of the University of California at Berkeley is well known to all in this room, but it is underscored by what has been achieved and accomplished in the field of forestry and forest management over all these years, working with so many diverse and different parties. It's a great joy to just have a little bit of that heritage run through my veins as well. One can only end any set of comments about the University of California, Berkeley, can only end it with 2 words: go Bears.